All right, boys, you know it's getting real serious when I'm wearing the camera shirt. Canon, I gotta ask you a question about the C50. What is on the go with the playback preview for the lot? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I was on the shoot the other day and my client's like, can I see some of the images that you took? And I'm like, oh, I don't want to show them because I gotta play back in log. Boys, get it together, put it on the camera as a playback. You got it on there, why not just be able to, that frustrates me. That frustrates me. Now, I already shot a client video with the C50. The C50 is a really good camera, but it's not an FX3 killer. It is, but it isn't. It is, but it isn't. It is, but it isn't. Let me tell you, the Lord himself will come down from heaven and make this an FX3 killer if it had one thing. If you, and it's not IBIS, you thought I was gonna say IBIS, but I didn't. What would have made this an amazing camera? Built-in ND filters. Now you say that would cannibalize the rest of their cameras. Who cares? So I've already shot a video with this Canon C50, and one of the things that I noticed right away coming from a Canon C70 user is, I'm telling you, the autofocus on this is lightning fast compared to the C70. I'm actually shooting on it right now, and I got the 20mm VCM on right here in case you're wondering. Plus I got the DJI Mic Mini, not Mini, the Mic 3. Also DJI, make a white one of these. What are you doing? So if you got a C70 and you're like, hey, should I upgrade? I don't really want to upgrade to the C80, the C400. Ignore those videos that I made in the past because I was gonna get the C400, but man, 10 grand for a camera here in Canada. They're completely robbing us blind here with taxes. Don't even get me started. So I'm gonna go over a few things that I did right away as soon as I got this camera right here, as soon as I got this beauty of a camera, some of the things that I did right away. And one of the main things that I did right away is obvious, is turning up the illuminance. So that way the camera, the screen is pretty dark, dim, and you wanna go ahead and turn that up right away if you get this camera. Now keep in mind, if you go ahead and get this camera and you try to turn that up, you won't be able to do it unless you have this battery right here. You need this battery. Let me get the camera to focus. You need this battery. And if you don't have that battery, then you're not gonna be able to turn it up, which is kind of annoying. And you know, it's just like, they probably could do that, firmware update. But anyway, if you have an old battery and you put it in here and you try to turn up that luminance, the lens won't work. The autofocus won't work on the lens. Now, like I said, I was already on a video shoot with a client, and let me tell you also, the low light capabilities on this camera, whoever says it's not good at low light, it's good in low light. Let me tell you, I tested out the XFAVC files, I tested out I tested it all, okay? I shot a lot of 30 frames, 23 frames, 60 frames. I did all of it with this camera. So I'm gonna make a lot of content about this camera, and if you say, you know what, I'd really like to see some content on the C50, like let's say the menu system. Now I made a tutorial on the R5C menu system. I kinda gave up on that because I gotta work, gotta make money, and YouTube doesn't pay me yet. But if you want, I can go ahead and make a full menu system on this Canon C50, because if you're coming over from, let's say, an R5 or an R6 and you're like, I want to get this camera, it's going to be different. The menu is going to be completely different. So if you want, go ahead and put your ideas down in the comments, and then I'll make a video on whatever you put down there. Like I said, I was testing out the low light capabilities on the C50, and I'm telling you, it was really, really good. It performed really well coming from a C70 user. C70 is not really good in low light. As a matter of fact, even if you're shooting in ISO 800, I'm sorry to say that, but you can even see noise in ISO 800. I'm not even joking. But in something like this C50, I was testing out the 800, 16, 32, and then obviously the dual base, which is 8 to 6400 on this particular camera when shooting in log 2. and honestly, the image looks amazing. Just want to go over some of the small things that I did right away as soon as I got this camera out of the box. And I went into the menu system and in assistance functions of the focus guide, because it basically reads that the camera is really good at focusing in bokeh or low light. I went ahead and turned that on, and that's a really good feature in this camera. So if you get this camera, go ahead and turn that on if you're in low light scenarios, or you got a lot of bokeh, you're shooting at f1.2 or something like crazy like that, then you want to go ahead and turn that on. Another thing that I did right out of box is I turned up the AF speed and I cranked that bad boy all the way up to 10, because I have been used and abused with the Canon C50 bad autofocus. Now it's not that bad. It's like I'm using it right now. It's really good. Also, if you're shooting open gate on this camera, because that's obviously the biggest selling feature of this camera right now is the open gate, you're gonna wanna go ahead and turn on the grid lines, so that way you can know exactly what you're looking at and you can be like, this is where I'm shooting vertically. Keep in mind, if you do that whole new feature that Canon offers, where it's kind of like the first card records like open gate, or I think it's open gate or XFAVC, just like 4K, not open gate. And then the second card records like vertically. The second one is not gonna be 4K, it's actually recording it in 1080p, so keep that in mind. I don't really particularly like that, because if I'm gonna shoot vertical content, I don't know why everyone's so, big on the open gate thing. Like if I'm gonna shoot vertical content, I'm just gonna turn my camera around for vertical content. Just don't be lazy, get to work. But that being said, if you are gonna use that, then you wanna go ahead and turn on the grid lines. I will put on the screen exactly what you need to do in order to accomplish like the actual open gate, so that way you know you got the proper grid lines on there. So another thing that I did right away, because I want the best audio possible out of the camera, is I went to the recording media setup all the way to the bottom in tab 2. I went and chose 24-bit rather than 16-bit, because I just want the best audio possible coming out of the camera. In case I hook anything to the camera, it's gonna give me the cleanest audio. Also, CVP, what's with changing the noise reduction onto off when it comes to the ISO? So if you wanna turn that on, go into your options where you can choose your, like if you're choosing C-Log 2 or C-Log 3, and go to protect and unprotected. Doesn't mean that it's not unprotected. What it means is that you can go in there and change what you want to make the camera fit your needs. So I think he said, don't quote me on this, but I think he said he turned the noise reduction off. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on because I like noise reduction. So I went ahead and turned that off. So those are a few first initial thoughts on this camera. Like I said, I love this camera. This camera is really, really good. Coming from a C70 owner, I actually have 3 of those cameras, really good cameras. But the image is a little bit too soft for my liking now. I also love doing content on Instagram, things like that. So that video that you've been seeing on the B-roll, I'm actually doing a Instagram reel on that video. So if you wanna see that, go check it out on my Instagram channel. And like I said, if you wanna see more content like this on the C50, go ahead and subscribe, and I'm gonna make a ton of content on this camera. Okay guys, take care. I'll see you in the next video.